Hey guys, hello and welcome to the Blue Inversion podcast. This is episode 3, and today we are going to talk about AI and the whole discussion surrounding the creative field getting replaced. And more specifically, we are going to talk about concept art, which is I'm interested in. So let's get into it. If you're watching on YouTube and you find that my eyes are kind of swelly, that's because I was hit by some allergy. Let's not get started on things I have allergies to because that's a long list and I would like to cut this episode short and be more specific on the topic, right? So let's get back to the topic. What is concept art first? Um, Different people have different approaches, right? It's a subjective matter. But for me, the way I view it as concept art is we are solving problems. When you say I'm a concept artist, you're actually solving problems. So the problem can be how to tell a particular story using visuals. It can be how to convey a certain emotion, how to make some, and so on, right? So there's this thing that concept art is getting replaced by AI because all this new kind of technology is here that can quickly let you iterate over a lot of ideas. Style transfer is one of them. Generative adversarial networks, you must be familiar with this term. And a lot of other convolutional networks are up, and some of them are even premium, like products, full-fledged, which can be deployed. So sometimes it's scary, and I think the AI panic mode is now gone, and we are kind of like settled down that it's maybe not that much of a bad idea, and a lot of people have started even capitalizing on that. So if I have to take a stand, I would say I'm pretty positive about the whole thing. I like to be positive about most things, and it's not a rebellious thing. I think there is much logic behind that. It is just another industrial revolution type of stuff going on. The fact is that the scale at which it is happening, the jump from the internet revolution to the AI revolution is like it's pretty a big jump. So in that respect, I would say this might be the biggest jump so far regarding our industry, that is concept art in 3D and 2D. So that's why it's scary, I will say. But for the most part, it's for the good. Now, today, what we are not going to discuss about is that we are not going into the whole AI becoming a overlord and trying to kill humans and all that. The whole the Terminator concept. I don't think that is very likely to happen. But AI turning against us, that's pretty far-fetched, I will say. So we are not getting into that. We are just staying in our lane, that is concept art. So when you're creating an artwork, you have this idea and you want to make it into a product, be it a render, an animation, or a short film. It can even be in music. You have this idea of how the song is gonna feel. Then you have all this: what melodies to use, what instruments, and what the vocalist should sound like. So it's like there's this idea, there's this product, and there's this bridge in between where the artist comes in. Now the idea and the product might be the original, might be the IP of the artist himself. Sometimes it's not, but this bridge is what our job is to bridge the gap. Now I feel like this bridge is getting shorter day by day already. Without using AI, a lot of new technology is helping us accelerate this process of iterating over ideas. And to be honest, the faster you can iterate, it is better as a concept artist because you get rid of all of your bad ideas very fast. And that is one of the reasons that I'm doing this every day, because I'm going to have a lot of shit ideas, and getting rid of those and letting it out of yourself, and then allowing the good ideas to come. That is one of the sides of this everydays. And I make sure to finish the artwork On the days when it is not turning out to be that good, I try to push it as much as I can, and I still post it. It's only been 3 days. Like, what am I talking about? But this day, like the fourth artwork that I released today. This artwork, the time lapse you're seeing on the screen, is from yesterday. Today's artwork I wasn't very particularly happy with, but I still have to post it because when the good idea comes, I will be able to execute it um, naturally. Then, if I give up on the bad ideas, then I will give up on the good ideas too. So yeah, that is one thought to ponder. So yeah, so what I was talking about is that this bridge is getting smaller day by day. So it's easier to what this trend is favoring is that it favors the idea and this ability to come up with something new and to create your own style, to be able to convey to have a message, a visual identity. So these things are getting more and more valuable, and the actual hard skills, the software and all the nuances related to them, those things are becoming secondary in my opinion. And it should be that way because learning a software is not being a good artist. You can learn all the software in the world, but you have to produce good art using them. You have to be able to come up with good ideas, execute on them, and show them, and like get to the final result. That's all that matters. Unless it is very specific that you have to use this software or something like that, if you're working for a client or studio. Other than that, the final result is what matters. Then you should not give too much of, you should not put too much attention to what tools you're using. For example, let's forget about the AI thing for a while. Using assets is something looked down upon, frowned upon nowadays by one group of concept artists, let's say. But and the other group is going to use assets very frequently without very unapologetically. And I'm one of those because I use whatever accelerates my process, and I haven't used too many assets. I haven't used any assets so far, I guess. I used Make Human for today's work, but still it's not that much of an asset. I'm thinking of incorporating more, but we will see. Because the goal is to make good artwork. It doesn't matter how I got there. The same goes with AI. So maybe I'm not saying that AI is not going to replace any artwork, any work related to concept art. Many positions will get replaced, I guess, but that's it. Many positions will get replaced, but the whole industry is not going to get replaced at all. In fact, AI is going to empower the individual to make much, much, much greater quality and magnitude of work. Like you and me, concept artists can make a whole feature film at their homes without a team, without a whole bunch of studio culture going on. You can just make it in your house, at your home, at the comfort of your home, using your PC that isn't very expensive. That will be the future, I guess. And it will empower the companies as well. They have more leverage. They will definitely be able to do much better work. But maybe the feature movies will be accessible to individual artists. And I guess the studios will then start creating virtual reality experiences for people. That will be a very interesting thing. So VR is something I'm interested in too. So VR experiences will be a nice industry for big companies, I suppose. So is AI a good thing or a bad thing, right? There's no short answer, but if I have to choose one, I'll say positive, because it might lead to having less concept artists, less jobs for concept artists. But what it will lead to is, if you're willing to adjust, if you are willing to become a short filmmaker, maybe every week you are releasing a short film, which will be possible one day when we have enough asset libraries, enough AI apps and softwares to automate most of the tedious things and just focus on the idea. It will be possible to make a short film every week or month. I am very positive about that. It will happen one day, I guess. And I'm telling this, I'm letting it out in the wild using this podcast. So maybe we can look back in 10 years and say, that did happen. I don't know. But I think if you're willing to adjust, any major change in an industry can be handled properly. So if you go back to why you started making concept art, maybe you're inspired by some movie, maybe you're inspired by some short films, or just some pieces of artwork like renders, still images, animations, or anything. Then if that is what inspired you, then later on you were bombarded with all these ideals of it's like someone is ideal, somebody is put on the pedestal because they know the software very well. That doesn't make it better. That does make them a better concept artist because they can iterate faster. But that does not take away from the fact that learning the software itself is not concept art. So don't be romantic about the app or medium you're in. So when AI comes in, you have to make the jump. And if for example, Blender does not incorporate AI algorithms like, let's say, style transfer will be a good thing. Like, AI is already in Blender. We are using the AI denoiser. So if Blender does not adjust, then it's a better idea to shift to something else. But I think AI will be incorporated into Blender faster than the other software industries, because faster than the other companies, because Blender has this open source culture. So all the open source players will start contributing to Blender, I guess, and it needs a lot of checks and a lot of green flags have to be put before they can be included into commercial products. So that takes a long time. So I have high hopes for Blender in that respect. So yeah. So if the future is everybody can make feature length movies, short films in a week or month on their own, then it's a fantastic future, and I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we will all be making anime movies every month. Like there will be YouTube will be filled with that, just like we have YouTubers making gameplay videos. Like, it might be a thing that a lot of people are producing short films in large volume, and for free on the internet. You don't have to go to the theaters. The whole theater culture will collapse maybe, and I don't know what the small details will be, but I'm damn sure that if you take advantage of this AI technology that's coming and is already here, then you can have a upper hand in the industry as an individual. So don't get too romantic about using things like using assets or maybe some things which are considered cheating. I think we should embrace those which can get us faster to our final product from the idea. And yeah, so it's a very positive way of thinking about the whole AI thing. And finally, I would like to shed some light on some other possibility. Like, I've been doing a lot of research on this and I've tested out a very few handful of algorithms like style transfer and some image upscaler algorithms and neural networks, and like the open source ones. And they're pretty powerful, I have to say, but they still need to get perfected to be used in production software, in production environments. But I have seen a lot of machine learning apps which are pretty production ready. Now, if deep learning will be included or not, and in how much time, that is yet to be seen. But yeah, so the other future which I was talking about is that we might get we might join hands with the whole AI thing. I think so. Elon Musk talks about this in a few of his interviews and podcasts, that we might get connected to the AI in a certain way. So to quote him, he gives this example that we already have non-biological extensions of our brain. That is the smartphone we're using, and we have the whole world's knowledge at the tip of our hands. That is our phone, the internet. So there's really no point in saying that this is not something we're used to. We are actually used to being able to have more superpowers than we are naturally gifted with. So nowadays it's very hard to live without our phone or the internet. So that is already a superpower we have. But what he says is that the bandwidth is very slow. That means we are still using the traditional ways of consuming data. That is reading, listening, and watching. Written, word, audio, and video. These are the only three ways that we consume data. So that is a very low bandwidth process. And if we can implant some interface between our brain and some second layer of cortex, which will be a digital cortex in the form of an AI, an AI neural network, which can do certain specific things initially. I guess that will be the route it takes. Maybe it can enhance our memory, or a few more features, like maybe we can learn some motor skills. Maybe we can transfer the data that a guitarist has accumulated, the learning data that it has accumulated in training for how to play the guitar, and then we can transfer that. So we do not have to go through repetitions. I think that will be a very revolutionary thing, and that will be, I guess, if it ever happens, then I think this will be one of the first steps that the technology will take to be a consumer product. So the motor activities, like the things we learn by repetitions, those things will be easier to learn using this technology, I guess. So I think if you're a little bit worried in the back of your mind about the AI thing, I think you should be, instead of worried, you should be more aware of what the things are going on in the industry, in what way AI is going to help accelerate your process of whatever job you're in, be it concept art or illustration work, game design, level design, environment art, whatever you are in. Find ways, look for softwares which can speed up the process. Like retopology has been a very, very fruitful marketplace for plugins in Blender. It has seen a lot of improvement, I would say, over in a very short amount of time. Retopology is fairly easy these days. You do not have to go through a lot of tedious steps. So, but it is not AI. I think it's not AI. So I'm not saying AI is helping us do that. But if non-AI softwares can do that, then AI will also help us. And also, I would like to remind everybody that let there be no confusion that I'm saying AI is so great and all that stuff about AI, but there are downsides too. So we need a lot of data to train AI. So that is one of the downsides. And Google and Facebook, the big companies which control this data, have access. So that will be a thing to protect ourselves against, to make it a democratic distribution of software, to keep most things open source. But of course, everybody is not going to do that. But it's the thing that we should be worried about, instead of being worried about whether the whole AI thing is good or bad. I think AI is good. Now, the way we react to it, the way we handle the distribution of AI software will be the challenge. Oh, so the time lapse is done. And thank you so much for watching. I think I went a little bit off topic here and there, but I hope I hope I could deliver on my topic for today, and I was able to communicate my thoughts with you guys. My eyes are still swelly, so I will end here and take a look at it. I hope it gets well. And if you have any questions, if you have any follow-up opinions or suggestions for the next podcast episode, I'm really looking forward to your comments, and it would really help if you leave some questions, because it helps me to keep the ball rolling and stay relevant. Then I can also answer your questions. So leave anything on your mind about the industry, about Blender, anything. This podcast is for Blender lovers and people who are interested in tech related to 3D and the whole industry surrounding it, concept art, illustration. And thank you so much for listening to another episode of this podcast. It really, really means a lot to me. See you on the next episode. This was Shayan. Take care.